unhinged people, heated emotions, and some crazy scenes.
We're gonna be looking at some of the craziest courtroom moments, from violent to gross to plain ridiculous. Let's go take a look.
This is the shocking moment a man attacked a Las Vegas judge in her own courtroom.
That's some serious air.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't so horrible, it would be impressive.
Clark County District Court Judge Mary Kay Holthus was in the middle of sentencing 30-year-old Deobra Redden to prison for attempted battery for substantial bodily harm.
He seems to have that likelihood to strike or hurt someone because he decides to do the same thing to a judge. He committed battery on the judge.
This concept of I'm being sentenced, I have nothing to lose, is completely wrong.
There's always more to lose, trust me. What happened after he jumped the judge?
Well, he did have to come back into the courtroom because obviously his sentencing was interrupted. He was muzzled, ladies and gentlemen, when he came back.
This is the Hannibal Lecter mask, or the muzzle. Yes. And why do they put these on people?
Essentially so you don't use your mouth as a weapon.
Part of that was, in my opinion, to make an example out of him, because at no point do we want people to think that they can do that to a judge.
Right. The court is the government. It is the judicial branch of the government, and judges are an extension of that branch. So attacking the judge like that essentially is like attacking the government itself. And consequently, they made an example of him. And you know what I found to be honestly just amazing? The judge gave him his sentence, and it was the exact sentence that she would have given him before the jump.
Oh, so she did not add extra.
She did not add extra time because of the jump. Judges do have the discretion to change their judgment based on the defendant's character.
Yep.
And I done seen your character, and your character is terrible.
Ugo, he was originally charged for attempted battery. Is it too late for them now to add another charge on?
Yes, because there has been a final disposition in that case, right? Because there's a final disposition in that case, there is now a verdict. The verdict is in. You can't go back and now amend it. But what you can do is file new charges against the defendant. And that's just what happened in this case.
You just gave it 4 years. Well, guess what? Sir,
What the?
Look at her. She's like, wow, I've never seen this before.
Oh man, she definitely filmed it. Oh, and then she gets yelled at. Yeah, you're not supposed to have your phones out in court. Apparently, according to the video, he was reaching for feces, which is poop, if you didn't know that.
Yes, it is the technical scientific term. Excrement.
Smelly stuff. Whatever you want to call it. What do you think's worse, jumping the judge or throwing feces and urine at the judge?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. I would rather have the urine and feces thrown on me.
You just heard it here. Ugo would rather have urine and feces thrown on him. So for all of you viewers out there, what's your P.O. box?
You see what I have to deal with?
Please don't send him that stuff.
Don't worry, I'll repackage it and I'll send it to you. But
whether you are jumping the judge or you are throwing feces and urine at the judge, both of them would be considered battery. You don't actually need to hit the judge. You can actually get battery by throwing objects at people.
Absolutely, including excrements. Including excrements. And if it misses the judge, it's still a crime.
It's still a crime. It's a attempted battery.
Either way, this guy was going down the drain.
Down the toilet.
Good job.
For the viewers that don't know this, he's in chalk for getting 40 years for armed robbery. Now, armed robbery does carry with it at least 20 years.
At least.
When someone acts like this after getting sentenced, does it affect their chances for an early parole? What's the situation?
It's a good question. Keep in mind, parole has to do with your conduct after your sentence, right? So it should not actually affect his ability to get parole because this is happening before his, come to Jesus, right? Before becoming a good citizen. So although it will not affect his charges with this case, it will certainly be taken into consideration when he is sentenced a second time for this attempted battery.
Do you have the income to hire an attorney on your own?
Does it look like it?
I don't know, sir. I don't have any idea. I just ask that you answer my questions.
Ooh, he's gonna need that Hannibal Lecter mask.
No.
Wow.
Something wrong with him.
This is strange.
Something wrong with him.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, God.
He's really looking at the camera. Judging by the title of this video, it says that he's acting absolutely insane. If that is acting, that is pretty terrible acting.
Yeah.
Be honest.
There's a lot of eye contact with the camera. You think he's like a Gen Z convict? Gen Z, they know their angles. They're like, You know what I mean?
There might have been a ring light involved. Who knows?
Who knows?
The suggestion here is that he's intentionally acting this way with the hope that it will help his case. Ugo, would it help his case at all to act like this?
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that your behavior, yes, your behavior is taken into account when you go to court. But it's not like acting like this will now get him off of whatever it is that he's being accused of, because there are multiple steps when it comes to trying to do an insanity defense. And it starts with a deep evaluation by a licensed professional.
There's actually two parts involved when their mental condition would come into play. The first part is whether they have what's called standing to be able to understand that they're being put on trial for something. The other is the famous insanity defense. There, you have shown that you can stand trial, that you're fit to stand trial, but you're using it as a defense saying that you may not have known what is right or wrong.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, even if you do succeed within insanity defense, it's not a get out of jail free card, because you're shipped now to an institution for mental health convicted felons. Your freedom is still taken away, but you will receive treatment.
If you do the crime, you're going to do the time in some way.
That's right.
Good morning, sir. What's your name?
Me?
Yeah, you. Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Nathaniel
What does
Saxon.
that say on his...
Your name's not Butt 3000.
Oh,
you
no.
know. What's your name again?
Nathaniel Saxton, sir, but I don't believe that I typed anything like that in.
Well, that's what it says.
That sounds like a nightmare.
This is probably a situation that happened during COVID.
I had a Zoom disaster myself.
Oh, yeah? What
Yes,
happened?
I don't even know if I should say it.
No, you have to tell us now. You spoke.
Okay, I did. I should have said nothing. I had the pleasure once of meeting Nicki Minaj. I met Nicki Minaj. It was during COVID. It was through Zoom. And I spoke to her. She's awesome. She's amazing. I had changed my background to a very salacious photograph of...
Salacious.
It was salacious of Nicki. Because this was new during COVID, I had forgotten that when you change your background, it stays there. It doesn't like reset every time you log in. And I didn't know that at the time. I had court the next morning. And so I logged in. And when you're in the waiting room, you actually don't know what you look like until you turn on your camera. So my camera was off. Mind you, my boss was in the meeting. Like, it was horrible. It was horrible. I turned it on. Nicki Minaj.
Oh, salacious, Nicki Minaj.
Salacious. All the goodies were out.
So did the judge? Did the judge say anything?
The judge said nothing. No one said nothing because I realized it immediately because I'm vain enough to look at myself. Do you guys look at yourself when you're on Zoom?
Come on.
Do you look at yourself when you're on Zoom?
Yeah, I want to see how I look.
Right. See?
But, you know, speaking of butt, butt effer 3000.
How do you think it happened?
My guess is that he was using that username for different purposes. Even though this seems like an honest mistake, Ugo, do you think this person could be punished for it?
The court has rules of decorum. And if you violate those rules of decorum, even unintentionally, you could in fact be reprimanded for that.
And for contempt of court, you could get fined.
Yes.
There is a possibility of actually getting put in prison.
But it has to be intentional.
It has to be intentional. I think if this person didn't change their username, or this was the second or third time they logged in like that, then the judge very well could have come down with some sort of punishment. This what looks like the very first warning.
Yes.
Judges will almost always give a warning before they try to do contempt of court or sanction someone.
Have you ever been sanctioned before?
I have not.
Such a good lawyer.
I'm just perfect. What can I say?
He's okay. He's now on the judge's naughty list for sure. And you never want to be on a judge's naughty list because you no matter what you do in court, you don't want the judge to ever have a personal reason to side against you for anything.
Right.
Because remember, judges are going to think this is you on your best behavior. So if you have outburst in court or you're unable to keep your cool or your composure, a judge is going to interpret that as if this is how you're acting when you're on your best behavior, then perhaps what that witness is saying about you is correct. So always come into court on your best behavior, listen to the rules, and just don't do stupid things. And for the most part, you should be fine.
Yeah, and you know, even better yet, just get a lawyer, right?
Right.
And then you can just shut up and not do anything and do anything that could hurt your case.
That brings me to an important part, which is that if you think that you have a case, please make sure that you go to ithinkIhaveacase.com. It's a site that we created specifically for you guys out there. If you're wondering, do I really have a case? Well, you might.
Check it out. Check it out in the link below.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter. It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant who's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it.
I'm prepared to go
live.
forward.
It's not. I'm not a cat.
I can see that.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
That is embarrassing. This is a lawyer this time, so this is an innocent mistake.
100%.
It's an innocent mistake.
100%.
I highly doubt that any judge would get upset about this. They probably laughed about this. It was also pretty hilarious, Hugo, that he says, "I'm prepared to go forward."
I love it.
There's no
I
way
love that. I love he's like, listen, come hell or high water. Your Honor, we are ready to advocate for our client. We're ready to move forward. Cat filter bidet.
When you look like a cat, I'm gonna have to say they're not gonna focus on what you're saying too much.
Hi, Miso.
Now see this cat though, I don't think the judge could deny this filter.
Are you related to that attorney by any shape or form?
The reason why we can see this video is because the judge actually permitted it to be given to media outlets. The judge wanted to make it very clear though that this was actually a great example of an attorney acting with professionalism, or what I like to call professionalism. Get it?
You're clearly a cat owner for sure.
Yeah, but I do think the judge made a good point here. This is, out of all the videos we saw, this is the one that is the most innocent. The lawyer was trying to fix it. The lawyer was apologetic. The lawyer was ready to still continue with the case.
The main thing that you just have to remember when it comes to these type of things is just to be prepared, right? Check your things ahead of time.
Exactly.
And remember, I'm guilty of this too. And also make sure
Nicki
that...
Minaj.
I love you, Nikki. I love you so much.
Thanks so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.
Or else we'll see you in court.
Yeah, and we'll throw our bodily fluids at you.
No, we will not do that. That is disgusting.
Yeah, no, we won't do that.
Why would you even say that?
I don't know, I was just trying to be funny.